to The Smart Woman. We have Michael Graziano from The Global Degree. Now, what is so cool about this guy, blow your mind. Now, Michael, you haven't actually gotten to the full extent of every single country in the world, but this guy this year will get to every single country in the world, right?
That's the plan.
Okay, so hang on a second because I want to give some context. Mike and I know each other from when we worked in the financial district together just about 10 years ago. And we worked for a media company together, and then we immersed ourselves in stocks and mining and, influencing people online and distribution and media and all of these things. So when Mike said to me, hey, T, come in my office, I want to tell you about this idea. And he was like, I want to screw all the education stuff and just travel the world. I'm like, okay, Mike, great idea. Let me know how that goes for you. And so I want you to tell us, Mike, and remember, we're talking to the smart woman. And I want to remind those of you who are watching, and Michael, myself, I do not have any formal education, not 1 ounce of it. I went and did my life licensing qualification so I could sell life insurance at one point. I became a massage therapist. So I want you to know as you're watching this interview, I don't have an MBA. I don't have anything fancy behind my name. There's no letters, and neither does Mike. So we're talking to you, the smart, brilliant, powerful, confident woman, as somebody who can relate to us as well. So Mike, shoot, tell us about Global Degree, how it was born and where it went.
Sure. Global Degree started back in 2014, working with Tara at my first 9-to-5 corporate job. I'd always been an entrepreneur, always been doing startups, nothing that did too well. I mean, that every entrepreneur knows the journey of, 10 failures before your success. And I just started off with a trip to Thailand, 3-week trip, supposed to go with my girlfriend, but we broke up. Supposed to go down with all my best friends who all bailed out on me last minute because their boss wouldn't let them, their girlfriend wouldn't let them. They didn't have enough money, whatever. And I said, okay, I'm going to go on my own. I'm going to go to this foreign country solo, see what happens. So
and at this point, you'd raised a little bit of money to make this happen, right?
No. This is pre everything.
Wow.
Pre-concept.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So then I first off overcame a fear of loneliness. I realized I can go anywhere in the world and make friends everywhere I go. I made more friends in those 3 weeks than I had at any point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I can choose the level of connection. I can small talk with people about the weather, or that person can be holding my hand when I'm on my deathbed. I realized people don't even need to speak English. You just play a game of charades, and body language is the international language.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I was spending more money as a ghost in Vancouver with car payments, subscriptions, cell phone bills, all these things that I didn't even need. Then I was living like a king down in Thailand, and still to this day, it's cheaper for me to travel. Don't go to Thailand on your own. You're going to get robbed. You're going to get drugged. You're going to get kidnapped. And then this is all coming from people who have never been. So I went on my own, and it was beautiful. It was paradise.
And isn't that funny how, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's so interesting how we share our dreams with people and they're like, oh, you're going to get drugged, you're going to get kidnapped, you're going to die. And then you're like, I'm going to do it anyway. And it's exactly where you needed to be, exactly in the right moment.
Yeah.
Because you had faith in yourself.
Yeah, and the thing about Thailand is it's a melting pot of people from around the world. So when I was sharing this frustration with them, they say, well, if you think Thailand's cool, come to Israel, come to Kenya, come to Congo, come to, my home country and see how beautiful that is. And so I thought to myself, well, wait a second, how many misconceptions are in my head? And how deep does this rabbit hole go? What if the world is this beautiful, loving place, and this whole notion that it's this dangerous place just isn't true?
Yeah.
And on the last day of the trip, I just made a promise. I said, I'm going to go to every country in the world by age 30, or I'm going to die trying. I'm willing to die for this cause because I'm willing to prove that people are good everywhere.
Yeah.
And fast forward to today, and I've been to 123 countries, including some ones like Somalia, North Korea, the murder capital of the world, Honduras, and I haven't had anything happen to me, and it's been an amazing journey. And I can't say that people are good everywhere yet because I haven't been everywhere, but by in the next 18 months, I can't wait to have a big smile on my face in country 193 and live for this cause.
So, okay. First of all, my mind is blown that you actually did this still to this day. Like, I can't even believe Global Degree exists. And I love that you just put yourself out there. You went to Thailand, you met all these people, and then you start going around, the world, visiting all these places. And then you're like, because you're an entrepreneur, right? At heart, that's what you are. You're like, wait a minute, there's a business concept here. And so what was the business concept that you chose to kind of wrap around your traveling?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I realized, well, wait a second. If I'm going to go to every country in the world, how many other people can I convince to do the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
And if I do convince those people, what does that mean for a hotel's website or a flight's website? So I went to some of the biggest companies in the world and asked for sponsorship. I messaged Ray Nolan, who sold Hostel World, the largest search engine for hostels, for about $350 million. And I just tweeted him. I said, Ray, I'm going to every country in the world. I need Hostel World's help. And you can make this dream a reality. And he tweeted me back and said, how can I help?
Of course,
And
because he's a leader. And that's what leaders do. That's what leaders do. They support each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple months later, we had free accommodation. Then I went to Flight Center, a big flight network from Australia, but they have headquarters here in Vancouver. And I walked right in and asked for 5 minutes of the chief marketing officer's time. I just completely poured my heart out, to him on what I'm trying to do. And then we had another meeting with his whole team. And I showed up with a cowboy hat in this suit and tie corporate office. And next thing you know, we got free flights. So I had a lot of sponsors, which really helped offset our costs. And that was, and then we also had some cash sponsorships, because I realized, well, if a company wants to go and film a commercial, they're gonna have to hire a film crew. And if there's travel involved, they're gonna have to fly that film crew around the world. That's an expensive endeavor. So if we pick up video cameras and we're traveling to all these places, we can create a checklist of content that these companies want, and they're going to get it at a much cheaper price, and we're going to fund our trip. So that was the first side of the business. And after we got on Discovery Channel on our second year, we're on their digital network. That really started to ramp up. And now we're converting it into the Academy, which I've been telling you about.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to know more about the Academy. I want to just acknowledge you for a second, because you are a master connector and you're so influential. But I want because this is a show that it's targeted to women. Okay. So the woman watching this right now is a smart woman. She's entrepreneurial. She likely already has a business going. But what I'm loving about this space, and that I forgot you would bring to this interview, and I'm so glad that you're still the same Mikey that I know, is how important vulnerability and connection to your heart, being out of your head, is to the ultimate success of your business. Because when we run our business ideas through our head and we forget to, kind of sift them through our heart as well, it doesn't land most of the time. So for the smart woman, if you feel like you're pounding the pavement, you're doing your stuff, but you've hit these like walls, are you in your head? Because this gentleman right here has literally created one of the coolest companies in the world with one of the most influential spaces in social media. And he's done it through his heart and through his courage to be vulnerable and different and authentic. So I want to acknowledge you for that. And I want to just bring it back to a point that you said before we move forward with the dreams and visions of what you're about to share, is how you said there was different levels that I could connect on. And I was saying this in my Let interview, because of these, our level of connection is zero. And it's starting to trickle down into the most connected places that we think are connected. And that's even in our families, in our friendships, in our love, like in our intimacy. And I want to know, how did you choose what level of connection to go to, what level to pick? And is there a way to just pick love all the time?
Mm-hmm. One of some friends of mine who recently passed away. I'm not sure if you heard of Riker Gamble, Megan Scraper, Alexi. They had a channel called High on Life. And this channel actually helped inspire Global Degree. And there was a tragedy that happened at a waterfall here in BC. All three of them fell off. And that was really hard for me because they were all in their 20s and just out there living the dream and influencing people online. And there is this debate around the world right now that social media isn't real, internet's not real, these connections aren't real. But after seeing what happened online following that moment was really beautiful to see, because here are these three 20-somethings who just are following their heart. And they may have gotten in some trouble throughout their trip, and they may have been hated on by people and not recognized. But afterwards, I read these tens of thousands of heartfelt messages on their channel from people saying how they influenced and inspired their life forever, and how they have helped them find love, help them follow their dreams, help them just change their direction. And so I'm actually more on the side that social media is real, and the online experience is very important, and you can have an impact. But saying that, you have to do it with your heart. And Prince EA says it best. He says, does your content make people's hearts sore, or does it make people's hearts soar?
Oh, wow. I like that.
What he means by that is, are you just showing off? Are you just, showing your cars, your life, how everything's so perfect, and making people really feel bad by association? Or are you empowering people to follow their dreams because you're in a vulnerable state following yours? And there's a big difference there. And we call these social media channels, but we don't really, we forget the word channel and what that means. I mean, a channel is a channel of energy. So if you can tap into your channel of energy of your higher self coming through you, and you can connect to people around the world who can feel that and who subscribe to that channel, then that's important. And you can't care if people like it or dislike it. That's not up to you to decide. All you can do is be your most authentic self and portray that online, which is a timeless remembrance of your efforts and of your energy.
Wow. I wish I could give you a hug through the screen. You just nailed it on the head. I love that. Subscribe to your energy. And again, Ed Milet was saying, bees, he was saying this in his interview, and he said it on his Instagram as well. Bees actually choose which flower they pollinate by the energy the flower is giving off. So it's not just like a bee lands here and does its thing. It actually, there's work to be done by the flower as well. Isn't that cool? It's so cool. So I love that. So 10 failures before your success. Yes, this one of my commitments this year is I'm committed to failing, because I know that I have to get those failures underneath my butt in order to get my big success. And so some of your biggest failures would be great to hear, and then what you're coming into as your successes this year.
Sure. Well, let me just remind anyone who's walking on their 2 feet that they started off as an entrepreneur. When we were all babies, we try to walk. What happens? We fall on our face multiple times, but we keep trying. We don't give up. We keep pushing. So we should all take some advice from our infant self on pushing forward and not giving up. Some of my failures. Well, my first business was called Prom Perfection. We did freelance makeup. Not me, but I helped organize it. Freelance makeup artists. I connected them with grad students the night of prom, and they would do at-home makeup. It was a horrible failure. Swine flu protection
But
kit.
how many girlfriends did you get out of that? Seriously.
I signed up my sister and like 3 of her friends who felt bad.
Wow.
Swine flu protection kit. I remember swine flu was this big scare, and so I created this protection kit which had all the gloves and masks and sanitization, and I would send it online. Didn't get a single sale.
Okay. Yeah, it's not very sexy. Keep going.
Fetch golf balls, which I started with David Duggan and Brian Pesbraga.
Huh?
We would go to golf courses and find balls in the bushes and in the lake, and we'd clean them up and try to resell them.
Okay.
That didn't go so well.
And even if it did, probably not that lucrative.
No, not that lucrative.
Okay.
So what else? I had the light up T-shirts, which actually did pretty good.
Light up T-shirts. That was awesome.
Yeah, because we got on Dragon's Den. We got
Yes.
150,000 from Jim Tree Living and Robert Herjavec. So that's where I started to get a little bit of momentum. And then I threw parties in Copenhagen. This thing called the Insomnia Tour. It was 7 parties and 7 nights for all the new students from America visiting. And actually that started to do well too. So, I mean, if you were to plot them out, it would be just flat line, nothing. And then you'd start to see almost like a parabolic growth in revenue and all that stuff. And then Global Degree is where I'm at now. And now we're pushing through the academy.
Okay, so Global Degree is born. And I remember you always being so distraught over the injustice of all your friends at the time. This is years ago, but all your friends at the time, and probably still are, paying off their student loans with these useless degrees. Like you felt like this was not just. This was something that you felt people were being pressured to go to school, get these useless degrees from their parents, the, media. It was something that you had to do. And you're like, it's stupid. As a smart woman, I also have no formal education, which is what I said. We get tied up with the ways that the world wants to see us behave, get an education, show up with all your degrees. So Global Degree is born, and you literally give people the opportunity to travel the world and get worldly experience.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say if you were to kind of put apples to oranges, a education, right? A formal education, MBA, whatever you want to call it, or a Global Degree? What is the main difference?
Yeah, and so, I mean, my opinion has evolved over time. It started off that travel the world, that's the true education. There's no other form of education than life experience. That's evolved over time. I've realized that we still need doctors, we still need engineers, we still need lawyers. These people need to have a campus to facilitate their learnings and their research. We do need school, but the school could use a bit of a modernized update, I guess you could say. So, I mean, I think you need both. I think you need to focus on something and learn about it. You can do that online. There's now 75,000 courses online. A majority of them are free. I mean, I was just looking yesterday at a Harvard course called Entrepreneurship in Emerging Economies. It's completely free video.
What?
Yeah, it's video courses by a Harvard professor from Harvard Business. And I'm like, okay, so these you can learn things, and not just University of YouTube, but you can actually master things online. There's also some pretty compelling statistics coming out. One of them is that 60% of US students are somewhat satisfied or dissatisfied with college for career preparation. So we're tapping into a very, very large market. I mean, each student is paying an average of $36,000 a year. So you're talking billions of dollars that might be a lost investment. And then you have things like the fact that 50% of the US workforce is going to be freelancers by 2030, I believe. So here everyone's in this kind of gig economy, which is the internet at its it's the internet, shared economy, this new third industrial revolution. So people better get used to being entrepreneurs, because it's going to happen whether they like it or not.
Did you hear that? You better get used to being an entrepreneur. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here, all these companies are still requiring degrees, but these companies are being run and managed by baby boomers, who their measure of success at the time was a college degree. And it makes perfect sense. During the Industrial Revolution, growing up through the 50s, 60s, 70s, when you have this economic boom, people need to learn things, and there's no internet. And it's so hard for us to grasp a world with no internet. And
for the millennials, for sure. Yeah.
You know, and now here we are, where all information is at your fingertips within milliseconds. So the world has changed, and information has changed. You used to have to go to the library. That was the epicenter of information. You know, the better the school, the better the library. And so you'd go to the Stanford to get the best information. Today, if a book is a year old, it's already outdated. On my Google searches, if a search is more than 2 weeks old, it's outdated. So books can't even publish in time before everything's outdated. And so, the world's just changing at a beautiful rate, at a fast rate. And it's like either you keep up, or you're going to have a lot of struggles down the road. Because I don't believe millennials, when we're in our 50s, 60s, and we're hiring, I don't think we're going to be looking for degrees. I think we're going to be looking for talented people who can accomplish the goals that are assigned to them.
Well, maybe we'll be looking for global degrees, right? Like totally. At your academy. So what is, and I want to talk about what's in the pipeline for you, because I think you've had at least 10 failures. I was thinking of that other website that you did with Grady. Remember that website you guys were putting together?
My Viral Web.
My Viral Web. There's another one.
Add that to the failure list.
But this is good, because that means you're coming up on your success. So I want to hear about Global Degree. I want to hear the Academy. I want to hear about your book that you're writing, your coaching that you'll be doing, your money raising, all of these successes that are coming up for you.
Sure. So the Academy was an interesting one, because the idea of a global degree is you have to visit every country to graduate. I realized through time, not everyone's going to get their global degree, at least not anytime soon. It's a very tall order for your average person. But I did meet hundreds, if not thousands, of students on my trip, and they're so happy to be traveling because they're on a gap year, or they're in between summers, in between their semesters, or they're volunteering before they go back to school. And they're always sad to go back to school. They're always saying how much they dread it, how much of a pain it is, and how they wish they could keep traveling. So then I thought to myself, well, why can't they keep traveling? Why can't they study online with their home university and travel with a group of other students and all hold themselves accountable for completing coursework on the road while having an adventure of a lifetime? So that's the premise of Global Degree Academy. So we now have had 20 students through our program. They've traveled all of Central America and South America. One day they're paragliding, jumping off a cliff. The next day they're studying for an exam. Then they're swimming with sharks, whale sharks in Costa Rica. And the day after that, they're writing their essay. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And all of them have completed their coursework. So now we've really proven a new model of study and of life.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so who can do the Global Degree Academy?
Anyone who wants to study while traveling. Nothing's stopping people from studying in their basement. But the reason people love school today is because of networking and of community. So if you're taking away community, you're taking away a lot of excitement and purpose for this education. So we add that community feel. And then the next thing is life experience. I mean, how many people are frustrated that they can't get a job because they have no life experience, but they saved up and spent their life savings on their college because they thought that was going to get them the job. In this world, you need both. And, to get your college degree on your wall and to have this life experience and this travel experience, plus this international network that you just made, and it's all cheaper than the cost of a U.S. college degree. So it's a no-brainer
It's a
for me
no-brainer.
and for anyone who is able to switch to online.
Okay, so we're gonna drop the link down here. How do we find Global Degree Academy? What is it?
Yeah, it's just globaldegreeacademy.com.
Awesome. So obviously I'm going to check that out. I have not checked out that academy yet. I have kids, so I cannot travel the world, but I've actually done so much traveling. I worked on cruise ships for 4 years, so I know the value of a traveling education. I don't have my degree, my global degree, but I've seen a lot of parts of the world, and I'm so grateful I had the guts to do it on my own, because nobody believed that a 19-year-old girl should be running around Europe by herself, right? It's dangerous, right? It's, you're going to get raped, you're going to get kidnapped, you're going to get all these horror stories. But really what I got was the most phenomenal, heart-opening, eye-opening experience. I could never change it.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is people are good everywhere, and they shouldn't be judged by the actions of their government.
Yeah.
And Americans of all people should really respect that right about now. It's just the truth. You can go anywhere. You can go on your own, and you'll have the time of your life.
So, okay, quickly before I let you go, because we've already established that being online influencer is really important in this day and age, along with a million things, but having an online presence is really important. So what are the traits of an online influencer? How can we become more influential online? And what is it, direct us in some kind of area to maximize our voice online?
Yeah. In terms of content, going back to the channel of energy, be real, be vulnerable. People can smell it. They can smell a sales pitch, and they can smell vulnerability. So you may as well be real. And that does really well. You don't even have to be that consistent. I've seen people who put out incredible content, and they do it maybe once a month or whenever they feel like it's right. And you'll see an audience flock in from around the world because they know it's going to be good. So the whole consistency thing, I don't know if I necessarily buy that. I'd rather you have real, authentic content. No, things are going to evolve. I look back at my first videos, and it's laughable how I thought that was the best video ever. And now looking back, it's laughable. Everything evolves. So, you plant the seed and just push through the soil, push through the ground, because eventually what you're creating is going to be beautiful, and the whole world will tune into it to feel it. And in terms of distribution, contests work like a charm. We've had done multiple contests on our journey. It's a great way to create awareness. You can create your own contests one by one, or you can join a group of contests like the Reward Network, like you know about.
Yep.
And that's a huge opportunity to grow by numbers. And then, just, always looking for a new opportunity, trying to get into a room where you're the smallest person there. It allows you to grow. I mean, we just got invited down to Silicon Valley because of the size of our network. And, I was hanging out with these tech billionaires, and what did I know about that industry? Nothing, but being around those people was a big learning experience. And another example is
so humble, Mike. I mean, you're so humble. That's what I love about you. You don't show up to a room. I mean, it's great to get in the room, right? But don't act like the billionaire, right? No. And you show up, you're Michael Graziano or Mike or Mikey or whatever you are. You show up and you're like, hey, this is cool. Like, thanks so much for having me. I'm so grateful for this experience. Now tell me all you know. Like, if there's anything I know about you, Mike, is that you listen to everything, and then you'll speak. But when you speak, it's usually a question about, tell me more, right?
Totally. Yeah. And actually you just touched on something that's important, which is ask and you shall receive. I mean, the golden rule is treat others as you would like to be treated. And of course that will always be the golden rule. The silver rule immediately behind that is ask and you shall receive.
Are you quoting the Bible right now?
You need the courage, the heart to ask for big things. but then you need the gratitude to receive them.
Yeah.
And if you have the gratitude, people feel good giving you things, and they'll do everything in their power to give you more. If you don't have gratitude, if you're not grateful, people don't like giving you things, and they'll do nothing in their power to give you more. So here's a characteristic, a human quality that actually literally opens or closes your world. So you got to tap into both of those and just shoot for the stars. Ask for the world. Literally, it worked for me. So
yeah. Asking you shall receive, and be very mindful. Sarah Centrella, I just interviewed her yesterday, and if you haven't watched the interview already, you will see it coming up in the series, ladies. But she says, be very mindful about what you're saying, because the universe will give you whatever it is, right? Whether it be good or bad, it has no opinion on what you want for yourself.
Yeah, and you there's little kind of hiccups, mental hiccups, where people say, well, I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to be fat. I mean, when you're saying things like that to yourself, that's exactly what you're manifesting, but you're also manifesting that there's something wrong with you, which is a double trigger. Instead, you want to focus, I want to be healthy. I want to be fit. I want to be athletic. There's a big difference.
I am healthy. I am.
Yeah,
healthy.
I am. Exactly. I am healthy. There's a big difference between I don't want to be overweight and I am healthy. Those are very different trains of the subconscious. So, be very mindful of what you're thinking and what you're saying, because it will come to you.
Well, I am a confident, powerful, loving woman, and I have loved every single second of speaking with you and hearing your beautiful heart, sharing with these smart women on how to be vulnerable, be authentic, but go for it. Like push. That's what I gathered from this. So thank you very much, Mike. Before you go, how can we reach you? Do you have something for us? Do you have a book? You haven't written your book yet. It's coming. What can we grab from you? Do you have an ebook or something like that we can grab?
You can grab, the book's not ready yet. I'm still processing what it's going to be about. I think following your intuition has always been a passionate topic of mine. So it's going to be along those lines. So we're not there yet. But how about this? If you want to grow your Instagram, if you want to grow your channels and do it in a really smart way, talk to Tara, because Tara has some really important connections of mine who can really help accelerate you at a beautiful speed. And
maybe do you want to offer them the same discount that you offered me? I mean, I know that's a lot, but
I'd say get people to message you.
Okay.
And,
all right. So it's a secret. I love this. It's a cliffhanger. Okay. So message me. We'll hook you up. All right. Yeah. Grow your Instagram following.
It's an honor. Thank you, Tara, for your time. And I really appreciate it. And to the whole audience, if you have any questions, just, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. It's just all global degree. And I'm happy to help in any way I can. I know how tough it is to get your voice heard today. When I started 5 years ago. And when I started, there was about 10 other people in the world that were making travel videos. And now anyone with an Instagram account is a travel blogger, photographer. So the landscape has changed. So we're lucky we have about 1.2 million people tuned in. So I'm lucky that I'm on that side. And if I can help people grow and get their message heard, that's what it's all about. So I'd be happy to help.
Well, you're the best. So much love to you, Mike. Have an awesome day. We'll see you later.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye.